Good morning from Durham, North Carolina. We are here for PUL Championship Weekend. My name is Saul Yannick, here with Mary Rippey. We have the first semifinal of the weekend between Philly Surge and Atlanta Soul. Mary, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing so great. I'm so excited to be here. How are you feeling?
I think it's going to be an exciting day. We've got a couple of really intriguing matchups. Starting with Philly versus Atlanta. To start our day, we just want to thank Discraft. Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. And this live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. Thank you to Salt Athletic and Athletic Brewing for partnering with us this championship weekend. We encourage those who are watching on the free live stream to donate with the QR code on your screen. Mary, we've got an exciting game coming up between a couple of teams that are in their first championship weekend appearance in some time. What are some things that have jumped out to you in watching these teams throughout this season in the PUL?
Well, so I will say we before the game started, we went down and chatted with both the coaches down there. One thing that definitely stands out is that they play a pretty similar game overall. Big host stack, stretch the field. They have athletic players, they can throw. None of that is like rocket science overall, but I think this will be an interesting matchup in terms of who can, I think, play, honestly, the cleaner game overall, because the systems are very similar, and they have a lot of high-end, high-power talent across both teams. It is compelling to me, though, and I want to hear your opinion on this. So you have one team that has played consistently together through a couple of years across numerous teams, and you have another team that has pockets of people who have played together. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, good, bad? What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Atlanta is the most interesting team for me this weekend because they've, basically based on all the conversations I've had with their coaching staff over the years, they're very focused on a strong team concept and building their team through depth and through continuity. But one thing that has really pushed them over the top this year is infusing their roster with talent like Dina Ali-Melek and Marie Perivier coming home to bring her hometown team to championship weekend. So, they've got longtime veterans on their team who are, deserving and having been carrying this team over years and who have been performing well this season. But striking that balance of playing their team game with letting some of these truly unique talents that they have on their team to elevate their team today against a Philly Surge team that has been just dominant throughout this season.
Yeah, I think, talking about Atlanta, one trio that we've seen play well together has been Booth, Wilbur, and Perivier. I'm very curious to see if they can keep that up offensively. Personally, I would love to see Perivier get more touches and take. She overall takes excellent looks, but I would love for her to get more touches overall and connect the offense and get involved across the entirety of the game. I think they'll get a lot of wins that way, so I'm excited for that trio to perform.
Yeah, you got the UGA Athena trilogy right there. All three of them have, they all have plus size, plus length, incredible disc skills across the board, but especially Quincy and Marie are, field-changing throwers, especially Booth with that tall lefty frame. She, as everybody who was following College Nationals found out, she set the career assists record at College Nationals this past spring. And so that is going to be a feature of this Atlanta side, as well as a lot of zone defense that we've seen from them so far this season. On the Philly side, we expect to see a similar approach offensively with big host stack spacing. Coaching staff from the Philly side have emphasized just how much their depth has really been the driving force of their success this season. There are a lot of household names on this team, as well as young and up-and-coming superstars. players like Grace Maroon, Sarah Liang jump off the page as younger standouts for them, but we will see which which members of this Philly Surge team decide to put their stamp on the game today. And I am curious to see which players are going to step up and take some of those top matchups against, the size and the offensive prowess of Booth, Perivier, Wilbur, and others.
Well said.
Okay, Mary, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
If you had to make a prediction, who are you taking in this game and why?
I'm taking Philly Surge. The reason I'm taking Surge is because all of both teams. But when I have watched Surge play, I think there is slightly more, ability to get out of some tougher situations, as well as commitment to a structure, commitment to a clear, offensive identity overall. And I think that's what's going to give them the edge this game. To me, it doesn't come down to star players, quite honestly. I think both teams are well fitted in that regard. I really genuinely think it's who's going to be able to execute in high-pressure situations. And when I watch Atlanta, sometimes I see areas of the field where I think could be exposed to weakness overall. That's my take.
All right, here we go. Championship weekend off and running with a large pull from M. Moeller up to Booth.
Number 11, Quincy Booth. We'll be saying her name a lot.
Booth high release to Perivier. Out in space. Just off target on the underneath pass. Moeller collects the block, and it is Semper to initiate the counterattack for the Surge. Semper to Moeller. Epstein going deep. Pump fakes it back to Semper. Vert stack from the Philly D-line offense. Swings it back to the break side to Moeller. Sagging defense from Booth, back to Semper. McKenna collects her first under of the game. Has a cutter going deep, pumps it. McKenna back to Semper. Far side, Alfano. Stoppage on the field. 30 yards to go for an opening break for Philly Surge here. Swings back to Chelsea Semper. Lindsay McKenna has Moeller going away. Big fill cut pumped. Partial hand block on the mark from Booth. Booth switching on to McKenna. McKenna chisels underneath. McKenna takes a forehand away pass into the end zone. Opening break for Philly Surge. That is Zoe Costanza on the receiving end, and Surge are off and running here. Lindsay McKenna, just a hyper-talented member of this Philly Surge team. At this point, a seasoned veteran. Often willing to pull the trigger on those deep looks, but she pumped a few of them until she got one that she really liked and let it fly there for an opening break for Philly.
Yeah, I think one thing about Lindsay McKenna is she's always been an all-athletic player with big throws, and I've seen her grow throughout the past 6-7 years at this point, to be someone who reads the field exceptionally well and makes extremely smart choices. So when I see the disc in Lindsay's hand, even if there is some stagnation, I feel very confident that a good decision will be made that will progress the offense.
There just aren't that many players in the game like Lindsay McKenna. She's just got, she was a World Games alternate recently. She's just her overall bag is her cup runneth over with abilities and talent.
I was going to say, we can keep glazing her. That works for me too.
Here's Quincy Booth up to Jimena Montagna. Swinging back around, here's Acock. Chloe Green. A little bit of clutter here from the Atlanta offense. Stuck on the sideline. Lefty up to Montagna. Chiseling up to Booth. In power position. Lets her lefty backhand go. Morgan Lally in the space. And defended by Philly. Trying to snag the number there. Maybe Allie Milligan, if that's 17. Excellent defensive coverage in the end zone on one of Atlanta's favorite receivers. Vert stack initiation play. Swinging around. Liv Steinberg. Back to Steinberg now. Here's McKenna collecting an under. Different deep personnel for Philly this point. Far side, Alfano playing her second point in a row. Cutting the lane from Steinberg. Swing coming around instead. This is Alvey. Oh, Montagna inches away from the layout block. And just too low on the continuation pass. Good pressure from the Atlanta O-line.
Credit that to Montagna.
Yeah, certainly. Here's Montagna. Back to Green in the middle. Lally offering up the gut. Atlanta struggling to get any action going down the middle of the field here. Swinging back around. Aycock, far side, Lally, Montagna. Horizontal cut offered. Jerial pumped. High count, Chloe Green. Flat side power position. Oh, and the little pop out, not on the same page there with her receiver, and another chance for Philly here. Really fun concept there, but I think that player was maybe thinking more about the end zone than that little pass that was offered. McKenna into power position. Forehand, deep, looking for Steinberg. It's perfect. Philly on the run here. Alfano. Nice cut up the line. I believe that is Koship getting a broken bookends for the second straight break for Philly Surge.
That was nice. Our chat a little bit about this before off air. Philly's playing the defense we expected, right, on the handlers? Zagging the lane?
Yeah.
Is this what you're seeing?
Certainly. I think Atlanta has demonstrated a lot of strength during the season with sort of a wide open host stack, and the Philly coaching staff identified that they keep the stack a little bit deeper, and they open up multiple lanes in the underneath lane. But with clutter in front of the thrower, it's really hard for Atlanta to get out running and connecting their cutters down the field the way that they want to. Honestly, Atlanta had opportunities to score there, just a miscommunication on that last possession. But I think it is, we'll see if this gets borne out, but I think that Philly would be well off to continue clogging the space in front of the thrower, because Atlanta certainly has more success when they are out and running in big spaces, throwing the disc before stall 3, and they struggle when the disc sticks in any one player's hand. Moeller back out for a big pull. Booth. Montagna. Out to Griner. Give and go. Montagna has Privier. Takes a deep look. Off the hands, and oh, so close on the second effort. I believe that's Dana Bedeau, just off her fingertips under heavy pressure from Taylor Conroy in the forward cap for Philly Surge. Third opportunity to break for Surge here. Semper walks it to the line. Atlanta poaching off of this Philly vert stack. Break side look to Harnage. Has Epstein wide open through the help. Epstein, give and go. Chelsea Semper to the break side for Harnage. A lot of different players involved here for Philly early. Wilbur close on a block. Costanza with Epstein going deep. Booth very active on the mark once again. She can be very effective there. Here is Moeller with a nice inside out to Epstein in the middle. Costanza continues it around, misses her initial target, and it's Grace Maroon coming through for the second effort. Grace Maroon out here for the D point. Back to Costanza. And through for the third break in a row. Grace Maroon, heads up play, and Philly's out with a back-to-back-to-back breaks to open this first quarter, 5 minutes in.
I think the fact that that disc doesn't stay in their hands for more than 2 seconds, 3 seconds, the ability to see a cut developing, or the ability to just, whether that's just systematic play or just understanding where a player is going to be in space and being able to execute that throw, that unlocks so much offensive power as you continue to go down the field there. So definitely got lucky with Grace Maroon snagging that one, but the ability to switch the field and then attack vertically is looking very good.
Oh yeah. I think possibly a timeout here from Atlanta. Now, an interesting wrinkle for the pro format. If this is a USAU game, 3 straight breaks to open a game, you burn that timeout without a second thought. But given that timeouts are such a leverage point tactically where you can sub on a different personnel group, it's interesting to see Atlanta using one of their, it's a limited resource, and they're taking away an opportunity to sub back in their O-line in the future by using this timeout. But got to do something to get this train on the tracks. And I think the Philly defense deserves some credit here. That's a couple points in a row that Atlanta has taken a deep look that they're happy with, and the Surge defenders catching up and contesting at the high point really well to earn those turnovers.
Yeah, so what do you think should be the game plan out here right now, Saul?
For the Soul?
Yeah, of course. Give me one thing.
Yeah,
one thing you want to
I think that's the right question. What is one thing for Atlanta to focus on? Because obviously they've dug themselves a little bit of a hole. I think maybe moving some of their big players around, maybe let Privier come back into the backfield a little bit. Just let some of their higher leverage players involve themselves in spaces that are less typical for them. See if that throws off the Philly game plan a little bit.
You want to hear a hot take?
Always.
Okay. We'll go up. Hot take is that I think they should start with the Dom.
Oh yeah, I love that look. Love that idea. Just move it between the handlers. Here's Perivier up to Wilbur. Wilbur covered by McKenna. Breaks down the line to Mosquera. First touch of the game. Philly in some sort of transitional defense here. Wilbur goes to the ground to save that possession. Gets a little contact from the mark, and Philly falling out into matchup defense. Privier to Hawkins. Moves it up the field. This is Murphy. Inside shot to Martha Wilbur, and the Soul break the ice here. 3-1. Philly up with the first O point of the game coming up for the Surge, and Atlanta looking easy as you like it against that curveball defense from the Surge out of the timeout.
Yeah, clean.
And one thing that I like about that point is just the Soul players breaking the mark with some confidence there. When you're down and you feel like every turnover is a really big deal, sometimes it can get easy to get gun shy, throw the 99% throw, and pump the throw that you're less confident in. But I think against elite defenses, you have to throw some challenging throws to keep yourself on the front foot. You can't let them just sort of massage you into weak positions. And so, whether it was Wilbur breaking it down the line or just some of those transitional throws into tight spaces, it was important to see Atlanta confident executing on those throws.
Oh yeah.
Mary, what do you think when you're an O-line player and your D-line starts the game so hot and you're 15 minutes away from your actual last warm-up? What do you think when you trot onto the field for that first O point?
Oh man, I'm too old for this. I should have warmed up more. That's what kind of I think. Yeah, it feels really, really good when that kind of happens. And then there's kind of that fear of like, oh shoot, like I hope I don't mess this up for my team. But
back to number 11, Sarah Liang.
This is Graham Cunningham. Power position here. Abby Thompson, or that's 16 Poppy Wagner. Cunningham again. Here net. Here's K-Spa with a forehand huck. Finds Sarah Liang in the end zone. Handler ejecting into the end zone, and we have Veronica Colague-Spalaris with the assist, known to the universe as K-Spa, and I hope she will forgive me for calling her that for the rest of today's game, as is seems to be the pattern. Nice one-handed snag into power position and gets it over Montagna, who's fronting Liang, who tends to occupy the backfield for this Philly offense.
Our second game's going to be at 3 p.m. We do want to give people a chance to go out and have some lunch, get a breather, so rather than back-to-back, get some degree out of the heat of the day. So, obviously, on the fast
Comfortable hold from Philly there. I think Atlanta got them into 1 or 2 sticky situations with Montagna on Liang, and I like that matchup from the Atlanta side, but Philly got running downhill a little bit there, and not much the Atlanta defense could do to stop that once the train got rolling.
Still feels really early in the game.
Certainly.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of, like, what do you do differently? How many points is it? 5 points
Right.
so far? Still warming up. This is the part of the game where I was thinking about this the other day. I genuinely do feel like if you hit on some difficult throws early, I think if you start a game, you can handle those throws earlier, and then they have to kind of respect it for the rest of the game. So I kind of like that there have been some challenging throws thrown by Philly overall, some deep looks.
Agreed. This looks like another transitional defense from the Surge D-line. They've fallen into matchup defense. It is Mosquera looking deep to her countryman. Montagna almost toes the sideline with a great effort, but defensive play made there by Chelsea Semper yet again to walk to the line with a break chance for the Surge. Bird stack initiation double clear. Centers, Alfano. Back to Semper. McKenna. Couple targets going deep.
Let's go.
Everybody knows. Swings it back around to Semper. Booth poaching off. Alvey gets accessed here. Up the field. That is Abby Thompson. And now floaty up line. Reeled in. Unbelievable. Alvey under pressure from a stack helping defender. Semper wriggles up line away from Montagna. Atlanta wearing down a little bit here defensively, and Philly looking very clean. Alfano breaks around. Continue, Conroy, McKenna wide open, 5-1. Philly Surge looking extremely clean so far today.
Philly Surge 5, Atlanta score 1 with 3:20 remaining in the first quarter.
Just the mark breaking all over the field for this team is extremely balanced, and there's a clear intent to go through their progressions, access different sides of the field, and they're comfortable taking what the defense is giving them so far. That's a fantastic grab by Melinda Alvey.
Champion collaboration inspired next generation athletes. Discover Diversity, proud partner for Mural League.
Mary, if you're the Surge here, obviously the Soul are thinking long and hard about how they're going to get themselves out of this. As the Surge, do you just keep doing what you're doing, or do you try to, stay one step ahead? And if so, what are you thinking defensively?
Oh man, maybe this is a little silly of me. I think you just keep doing what you're doing. And the reason I say that is because to me they're not doing anything that is like groundbreaking. They're playing a system, they're moving quickly, they clearly know what they want to do. I think, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but I think if there's like another set or another look up their sleeves, I would save that until,
Epstein with a block on an early dominator from the Soul, and Muller puts it out for her. Wilbur in the area. Oh! Faye Epstein through the contact. No hard feelings, but we saw the dominator that you called for, Mary, and Faye Epstein was one step ahead, got her paw in there, and Philly, no fear, testing one of Atlanta's preferred deep defenders.
And that's why I'm not a coach, you know?
Oh, man.
Again, we are going to have our furthest.
It is early in this game, but that is, I think, a crucial point. That's just a player that the Philly Surge have called out for her contributions all season, and she diagnosed a change of plan from Atlanta and was immediately on top of that short, just dish pass. That's incredibly impressive stuff. I do expect Philly, once they do punch this in, to break out their zone defense. That's something that they have been relying on heavily this season. And I think that whether it's just keeping your O-line a little bit fresher with a long point, as much as you would like to let your D-line just sort of get their legs and run matchup defense, I think they've got to change the paradigm of this game a little bit next time they get that D-line out there.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
She does that.
Green up to Booth. Back in the dom.
Booth on the move. Working the backfield with number 23, Caitlin Aycock.
Booth up to Jeriel. A little slip from Booth. Looks like she's okay.
Great coverage by the surge.
Little pop out to Booth. Far side Morgan Alley. Chloe Green. Looks like a call.
There's timeout.
And
Timeout call by the Atlanta Soul.
you getting a timeout here? Looks like maybe with that late count, Atlanta coaching staff was trying to be a little more safe than sorry. Often something you see in the pro leagues, you get a timeout call, there's a delay on the stoppage, and then your player has made an excellent technical throw or thrown their teammate open for a goal. That's why they get paid the big bucks. I'm sure we're gonna see something real innovative from the Atlanta offense coming out of the timeout here.
I do like that Dominator, I'm not gonna lie.
Atlanta being very true to sort of their subbing structure so far. You know, I'm sitting in the chair up here. I'm thinking, where is number 2? I need Perivia getting 4 touches a point, and if they get broken, I want her back out there no matter what. But you know, as great as these players are, they get tired, and this is a long game, and you got to trust the horses that brought you here. And so I think Atlanta just needs to get a few clean holds under their belts, and they can start to execute the way that they've demonstrated throughout this season. Now, of note, we haven't commented on this so far, but I am not seeing Dina Ali-Malik out here. Now, I could be missing something very significant, but here's Booth into power position. You know, Dina has been a big contributor for this team, and if she's not present for this weekend, that could change their outlook significantly. Booth gets it back from Aycock. And a block coming through for Philly. That's Gwen Rao. Alvey looking to reset. Another touch for Costanza. Rao. Good pair cutting downfield. Epstein has Morse available. Steps through the contact from Montagna. She knows what she's doing right there. Just tapped in. 25 yards to go for yet another Philly break here. A little violation on the restart. We got Linda Morris out here with this D-line. First point of the game for her that I've noticed. Big pump fake. Alvey gets it around to Morse. Mark slips. Booth coming through almost for the block on a harnage. Inside lane. Rao back to Epstein. Epstein with a baby away to Linda Morse, and just off her fingertips. Atlanta dodges a bullet there. Quincy Booth looking exhausted right now. It is hot down on that turf. Atlanta's got to dig deep here.
Still have that poach in the lane.
Yep. Chloe Green just misses that open side look to Montagna. Back into the flick side, Mary.
I know that's one of your pet peeves. I'm not gonna lie, Chloe does that a lot.
Chloe
I think
loves her backhand.
She's swaggy with it though.
All right. I'm interested to see if the Philly coaching staff burns a timeout here. This would be the moment if I'm them. Nice little high release flick from Alvey. It is Koshep into the back of the end zone. Another break for Philly. Fantastic stuff. A little high release flick, and Epstein with no one in her orbit. She has been exploding off the page so far today in this early game with 41 seconds left to go in this first quarter. Atlanta just needs to get to this first intermission. She's got to put, I think, a hold, and then winning the end of quarter is, I think that's the only way back into this game at all. Lovely little touch from Alvey on that high release flick. One thing of note, the PUL field is 10 yards longer than the USAU field, so 80 yards. And I mean, at times Atlanta has been able to get, 50 or 60 of those yards, but I wonder if the extra length just asks that little bit more from your offense. And the teams with
Mathematically, you're right.
well, it depends on how good the puller is, I guess. Here is Griner with Ford into power position. Doran back to Ford. This is much better from Atlanta. Griner gets through a little bit of traffic.
I also still think, like, having that really nice upline pop up, nice save, but timing that with a well-timed cut downfield would open so much more for this offense. So that looked really nice, though, admittedly, as I'm saying.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's three sole veterans in Ford, Griner, and Doran just simplifying their game, trusting each other, lots of chemistry between those three, and then Anna Gustafson, one of the younger players on this team, coming through with a crucial intervention there late in the point. Montagna collects the goal, and so here, 7-3 looks a whole lot better than 7-1, so it'll be curious to see how Atlanta approaches this end of quarter situation. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the PUL format, as the clock expires during any of these 4 quarters, the team in possession will have the last possession of the quarter. Any turnover ends the quarter, and a goal ends the quarter. So with 17 seconds on the clock, it's going to be imperative for Atlanta to force the issue early in this possession, because all that Philly has to do to secure this 5-goal lead into the quarter, into the end of the quarter, is simply completing 4 or 5 passes here. Obviously a 10-second stall count as opposed to the 7 seconds we see in the UFA.
Or WL.
Oh yeah, is WL 7 seconds?
It is lower than 10.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
I've got East Coast bias. Here's Milligan up to Sarah Liang. Junk defense here from Atlanta. And this is an interesting use case for the zone. Philly with the opportunity to control the pace against this zone. Here's Lisa Dang. Little scandal flare on this Philly Surge team. Milligan holds for the end of quarter. Liang, and now Philly working against this zone. Here's Linda Morse, Lisa Dang, and Cunningham. We got 3-3-1 from Atlanta. Quick movement. Maroon pumps the lefty, throws the lefty to Graham. Around to Milligan. Flat wall in the middle, and sort of a forced middle cup shape on the sideline. Here's Liang. Only player in gloves I see today. Through the middle to Dang, Liang. Little bump there with Mosquera, nobody worse the wear. And now Atlanta falls into a matchup defense. Maroon reaches for Morse and Perivier in coverage. Perivier makes the play on the inside line. And that will do it for the first quarter. Philly Surge. Surge is out to the lead, 7-2 after 1. We are going to go to break here after the first quarter.
Are our cameras still active during the quarter break? Or can we
move around a little bit? Make sure you go check out our booth. We do have fans and ice. Also
I'm here at the Triangle Ultimate Middle School Championships, where over 30 middle school teams are showing us exactly what the future of our sport looks like. Local, accessible, youth ultimate. At the Ultimate Foundation, we envision a world where everyone has the opportunity to experience ultimate as a sport that inspires integrity, relationships, and belonging. Founded in 2014, we are the philanthropic arm of USA Ultimate. Our funding priorities are focused on fostering access, growing youth ultimate, investing in local communities, and supporting the Girls Ultimate movement and the Del Rico Johnson Fund. Our mission is to fuel a future for ultimate that is accessible to all backgrounds and identities by supporting USA Ultimate programs, partners, and communities. Let's stop sitting on the sidelines. Let's make the ultimate difference for the next generation.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Use the PayPal QR code on your screen or head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. All right, Mary, we are back for the second quarter of this first semifinal with Philly Surge putting their stamp on that first quarter up 7-2. What was something that stood out to you in that first quarter?
Oh, man, you know, my insightful eyes. Something that stood out to me was, I don't know, I kind of thought that Philly played the game that I expected them to play. I think the move from Atlanta, again, I'm just saying why I think I'm right about things, but I think the move to a dominator to open up the field with those give and goes was beneficial overall. Yeah, I think the defensive set, as again we talked about, against Atlanta was working really well. I'm looking for a little bit more defensive pressure, I think, on Philadelphia in this next quarter. Yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts are at.
All right, here we go. Mosquera launches that opening pull. Atlanta down in their zone. We've got Milligan back with Wagner. Close look there to Hiranet. We got Lisa Dang here.
One thing I've learned about Lisa Dang is that she warms up barefoot.
We probably all should do that. Dang on a nice pass through from Milligan. Morse, power position to Dang. Atlanta into matchup defense. Liang under heavy pressure underneath. Going all the way back to Dang. Milligan with a counter cut up line. Wide open look down the line to Poppy Wagner. Spills on the sideline. Called in by the observer. Back to Dang. Dang a little bit stranded here. Milligan goes up the line. High stall situation. Nice inside shot. Finds Maroon. Maroon under coverage from Hawkins. Blown switch there. Morse access to the break side. Dang. Pumps Maroon. Has Liang on the inside lane. Philly Surge clicking. That offensive possession looking very clean. Lisa Dang marshalling nicely and got them out of a couple of jams. But all in all, Philly looking comfortable.
Oh, I have a couple fun facts to read out here. This one about Charlotte Doring.
Okay.
Very fun to me. It says her main mode of transportation to preschool was a canoe.
Oh my goodness.
So that is an excellent fact. Good job.
When did she go to preschool? In 1805?
In Natick, Massachusetts.
Fair enough.
Well, I don't know if that's actually where she went to preschool, but I'm just putting the pieces together.
I love
here.
that for her.
Yeah, me too. It's very cool.
She's, I mean, honestly, if we're talking about Charlotte Dorn, she's been a really impressive player on this team. She's a solid handler for them, and so far when she's been involved, I think they've been pretty successful offensively so far today. Just played that D point there. So the Atlanta offense back out there with work to do. Moeller with the pull, sailing towards the sideline, just out of bounds. We have Mia Greiner on the pickup.
Take to the middle.
Longtime veteran, if I do say so.
Yeah, if
I guess you can't
anybody,
be a short-term veteran.
if
so.
anybody deserves the credit and some of the gratification from qualifying for championship weekend, it's her for this Atlanta Soul team. Host stack initiation back to Chloe Green. More dominator involving Liv Ford. Pumps Carver under heavy pressure on the sideline. Green up to Greiner. Has a deep option, draws some help. It's Tori Taylor back to Mia Greiner. Has Montagna going deep. Serves up a really nice inside forehand. Montagna uncovered. Atlanta looking so much better at that point.
Yeah, I like the combination of quick movement, small space, getting openings, continuing to attack deep, drawing help, and then turning that into either large gainers or just opening up space elsewhere. I think that, to me, that is how I would like their team to continue playing.
And I think one thing that it looks like when Atlanta is playing well this year is the marks have a really hard time getting set.
Right.
So they're,
Yeah.
you know, the movement of the disc was sort of ping-ponging laterally back and forth, and so downfield you don't know which cutter layer is the most dangerous, because as soon as you look away from the disc, a different part of the field is being attacked. And you know, there we saw sort of more on the far side of the field a pair of cutters getting involved, but then on a pop out coming back to this near side, it was Montagna who was uncovered, as there was maybe a loose rotation or something there. And I think at the end of the day, this Atlanta offense is not trying to play in a way that is perfectly structured. They're not trying to play, you cut here, I cut here, we wait our turn. They're out there in space. They have a fitness-based offense. They are constantly in motion, and when the disc moves as much as they do, they look a lot more successful.
Yeah.
Big D point here from Atlanta, looking to get some traction in this game. Cunningham up to Liang. Back in the zone for Atlanta, we've got Grace Maroon.
Back in the zone.
Popping out to Liang. Maroon on this near sideline. Through the middle to Liang again. Booth on the mark. Wide open the middle here in it. Maroon back to Cunningham. Business as usual so far for Surge. Cunningham floats it. Maroon waits for it to come down. Big gainer here in it. Here's K-Spa. Forehand away into the back corner, but just overthrows Cunningham. And Atlanta Soul with their first break chance of the day. 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Crucial possession here from Atlanta. Got Perivier out there with Booth. Doran on the ball. Wilbur in the middle. Has an open pop out to Greiner. Middle of the field access to Perivier. Back to Wilbur. Now this is what we were expecting to see. Wilbur reaches with a forehand, looking for Perivier. Maroon in coverage. Perivier brings it down with the left hand. Out to space, and Atlanta's on the board with a break. That is Allison Murphy, and that is the Atlanta Soul offense we were expecting to see coming in this morning.
Yeah, that was nice. Let's go.
Got our Athena trio connecting there. Martha Wilbur and Marie Perivier with a little bit of role reversal. And I mean, like, let's be perfectly honest. If Marie and Martha are serving it up to each other out in isolation like that, that's a game plan for success for the Soul. Just a matter of, you know, building around that, and those two players needing to have enough legs to get through an incredibly long game that's going to require a pretty titanic comeback here.
I will say, in terms of fatigue resistance, I would bet on those two players. At least in my concerns there. But as you said, the field is 10 yards longer, so, you know, got a little bit of wear and tear on the legs.
All right, Philly Surge with their first 0 point after a break for so far this game. This is a team they've won big. They've won in tight games so far this season, but they haven't really been too tested in, in terms of having to come back from a significant deficit. So we'll see how they manage these post-break jitters, and Liang shows some after a windy bounce on the disc. Outside lane to Grace Maroon, pumps the deep look and has Morse on the blow-by. Nice cut in the lane by Hiranet. Lisa Dang. Another bobble, keeps it in bounds. Cunningham motors up the line again. This time they will connect with Graham Cunningham on the up line, down the flick sideline, and Philly stabilizes after a break.
I love watching Lisa Dang play. I really do. Just like a silent assassin, it feels like, but has a lot of character in the way that she moves that I think is humorous and also effective.
I could be wrong, but the Cunningham and Lisa Dang combo, a couple of DC-based players historically coming over to Philly Surge and making an impact this year, and more generally just offering a lot of support for an otherwise really talented Philly Surge throwing stable, particularly without Carolyn Normile. I don't believe she's here this weekend, although I have seen her in action during the regular season. Having those two players to just sort of infuse into your lineup is, I mean, it's a huge luxury for them, and it takes a lot of weight off of the rest of the team. And again, I mean, this is an incredibly balanced Philly Surge roster. As much as we talk about Lindsay McKenna or any other individual member of the team, they've demonstrated they are just an incredibly deep, athletic, and skilled team, and it's going to be, I mean, we've seen the challenge that they're posing to Seoul already today. Here's Booth. Here's Perivier, reaches deep with a backhand. Got two receivers in the area, and Lindsay McKenna. Wilbur boxes out. McKenna comes through for the block. Incredible.
Didn't love the decision. I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean, I'm wondering who Marie's throwing it deep to there, but
Was that Bedot?
I mean,
Did I misread the number?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it was Bedot, but also with Wilbur completely uncovered.
Yeah.
So I like the decision. It's just and then here's Marie Perivier making up for it. Atlanta with one throw to score. Booth with no reset. Looking at Taylor. Tori Taylor in the end zone. Atlanta holds. All right, little bit of traction here from the Soul. Only down 4. Crazier things have happened.
I feel the energy picking up.
It looks like that was going to Bedot. Wilbur takes position, and then McKenna just explodes in front of her, and really impressive block.
I thought that was a really good effort by Wilbur.
I have new respect for all.
Certainly, I mean, everyone who's an Atlanta fan expects Martha to make that play.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking to
And then Perivier just takes a great line on that undercut.
The live stuff. Make sure that you're smiling and grooving, having a good time, cheering on your teams. Or even if you're not here for the video team, you think about that. You're going through great first season. Make sure you bump all the
Speaking of Martha Wilbur, she plays in a family band called Dirty Shame. So shout out to that family band. That's really cool.
Good for
That's
her.
really, really cool. I'm very curious what instrument she plays, but I can investigate that later.
Mosquera on the pull. Cunningham to Liang. Split stack for Philly. Here's Veronica Casebah. More zone from Atlanta.
What do you think about this decision here, throw zone?
Yeah, it's kind of their bread and butter. Like you gotta go with what got you here. But I mean, Atlanta's been so effective at building leads so far this season. I think it's partially because this is their bread and butter, and teams struggle to play fast offense against it. But when you're trailing, it's a clock game, it's a timed game, so you gotta factor that in. If each of these holds takes over a minute, that's shortening your window for the comeback.
Thrown my fair share of turns against this. So.
Little bump on the mark there on the way through from Booth. She should be the one tapping this in, regrettably. Here's Cunningham. Back to Liang. Unmarked for now. K-Spa. Pumps the deep look. Back to Liang. Atlanta in matchup defense. Pop out to Cunningham. Readjust to it. Morse cutting away. Liang catches the inside on Booth. Another inside lane up line. Cunningham out to space for Sarah Liang. Looks like a little foul there. Not sure who's calling the foul. Atlanta defender there taking a good position on the inside lane.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's, I don't mind kind of these little chips. Letting these little chips happen as opposed to something like a longer strike. So I think the offense is able to hit that successfully. But when you're stringing those chips together with then momentum, like a throw and go to a longer strike, that's when it gets a little bit dangerous there. But being able to stop that action, I think, is not bad. Like, I don't mind that defense, is what I'm trying to say.
Here's Linda Morse on a nice check mark cut to get it underneath her defender. Philly leads 10-5. And Mary, I totally agree with you. And, if you're in your defending half of the field and you're getting a 1 yard up line that sends you into the sideline with a close mark on you, I think that's net neutral. And then obviously when Sarah Liang has the disc on the goal line, and then when you give up that inside shoulder, it's a bit of a different calculation.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have been thinking of these days is, giving up a chip, like allowing that little chip while also putting on an aggressive mark versus being more containment oriented and allowing the field switch to happen, even if you then put on the mark. I would much rather the disc stay in this little small box. And I know it matters based on the team you're playing, based on the situation, but I don't know. Sometimes I get into trouble with that, but I don't know. What, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a subtle adjustment, right? Like, there's a fine line between conceding a small dig cut directly into the sideline for minimal yardage with a mark set. There's a fine line between that and simply allowing yourself to get beat up line. And
I mean...
And so it's important, especially if you have a younger or less experienced player, like that is a relatively high level body adjustment. And so you have to arm your players according to, their ability to actually implement that appropriately. Because certainly, multiple 7 to 10 yard up lines is an easy way to score a point.
Yeah.
Here's Atlanta with Montagna on the sideline. Nice gainer downfield to Tori Taylor, covered by Conroy. It's a nice matchup. McKenna covering Green in the backfield. Griner up line. Reaches here. Gustafson in the area. Brings it down with 2 hands. Under pressure from Semper. Nice grab from Anna Gustafson. She's fired up. That's good offense from Atlanta. Griner again involved in good action moving forwards, and Anna Gustafson with a nice box out, decisive reception there.
I also love hearing the energy from the Seoul team when their teammate does something, makes an excellent play. It feels good when you're on a team and everyone gets amped up for you, and also it just brings you back to the present, reminds you to stay involved.
And I mean, we started this game at 7-1.
Yeah, right.
And we're at 10-6 right now. So what's that? That's a 5-3 run. We're still so early in this game. I think Atlanta's got to be feeling pretty good about their second quarter overall. That's based on what the version of their team that we saw in the first quarter. This is a best case scenario for them. I think if I'm the sole coaching staff, I just want one more break prior to the half, and then obviously got to win the end quarter.
Mosquera with the ball.
Mosquera with that pull. Fun fact about Mosquera is that she has 7 siblings.
Oh, wow.
Gives center to Liang.
They'd be the best ultimate line in the history of the game.
That actually feels so real.
Atlanta, a bit of a trapping zone here. Maroon stuck on the sideline. Here's Liang. Nice pass through the middle to Morse. Couple of bodies involved there. Here's Cunningham on the near side. Nice up line to Dang. Had Hiernet in the end zone.
Dang with the disc. Just remain
Looking
calm.
at Liang. High stall swing to Wagner. Wagner, one of Maroon's teammates at UPenn. Now back in matchup defense for the Soul. Nice inside break from Wagner up to Morse. Pumps Maroon. Cunningham with 25 to go.
To Morse.
Dang under coverage from Mosquera. Lets her go into the backfield. And now Philly out into a vert. Wagner collects it near side.
Calm field.
Big second half of the possession here. 2 minutes on the clock. This point will not end the quarter, almost certainly.
Soul's been doing a nice job stopping those that give and go motion with rolling. I don't
Number
maybe
60
I
Wagner
haven't
to
paid
tap
attention,
in.
but I haven't seen that.
Maroon
It's nice to know our audience.
pumps Wagner back to Dang. Mosquera hunting on Morse here. Break side swing, Cunningham. Nice throw from Dang there. Access is Liang in the middle. Philly off and running with Morse. Good roll from Mosquera there.
Liang now about 11 yards out.
Liang back to Lisa Dang. Break side to Maroon. Philly moving nicely here. Big pump fake from Grace Maroon. Needs a reset option. Privier peels off of Dang.
Help here.
And a high stall bailout to Sarah Liang, and she can't bring it in. Atlanta with another break chance. Minute 30 to go here.
The counting works.
Incredible resistance there from the Atlanta defense.
83 seconds remaining.
Charlotte
in the first
Doran.
half.
This is the type of situation where you would want to have a timeout left over if I'm Atlanta. But they got a lot of their best players on the field right now. Wilbur,
70 seconds.
Mosquera.
This game's a Mosquera.
Perivier's got steps on Dang right now with Maroon in the only help position. Maybe a pick called down the field. And Lisa's asking for help during the stoppage.
Mosquera to tap in. And we're back in.
Finds Tori Taylor near side out of the switch. Perivier and Maroon going to war downfield.
Reminder again, there's no buzzer beaters here. So
Taylor at a high count.
60 seconds.
Good defense.
Reaches
Oh.
deep on a punt. Perivier, Maroon, Hiernet there. Perivier bobbles and can't bring it in. Great defense from the surge.
Incredible
Really
effort.
excellent.
44 seconds remaining.
40 seconds now. Now we're getting into a ballpark where this possession could end the quarter. Wagner, Dang. Philly with more gas in the tank here. Maroon goes to ground. Pumps Morris with Mosquera in coverage. Atlanta seamlessly back into their zone, it looked like.
Timeout.
And now timeout Philly with 25 seconds left.
Timeout with 26 seconds remaining.
Man, nervy stuff there on that possession. You know,
Felt the clock there.
that's one of those moments. So we had Tori Taylor caught the disc on the near sideline, and she looked at Perivier in true isolation with Maroon, and she pumped her on a slightly covered under. I think that's one of those throws that you want to be able to hit, so that later in the count you don't have to throw something even harder. And that's a central tension of how you run your team, how you run your offense. But I think when it's your best player, I mean, Marie Perivier is one of the top players in this league, and I
Showing
think
your
that
bias.
you wide open bias in favor of one of the best players I ever coached at Cut Camp 10 years ago.
You're the reason,
Oh,
son.
it's all me, baby. I think you want to trust her to bring that under in, and at the end of the day, obviously you want to have other looks that you can access there, but against an elite defense, when you got one of your best players available to you, you got to fit that throw in.
I do think so. I do think oftentimes, as a thrower, you'll see someone downfield with the defender tight and think, oh, the defender is close. However, Maroon was on the back, right? So she's not going to be able to make a play necessarily without instantly speeding up or fouling. So I would trust that situation. That's just something that I see across multiple players overall. So I don't even think it's a throw it to your best player thing. I think it's just know that that is a very hard situation to get a block in.
Yeah, and you're going to have to throw the throw to the correct location.
That's fair. That's fair.
Dang up to McKenna, makes the grab, bobbles under her body. I know what Atlanta thinks in this situation. It looks like Lindsay's conceding possession, and so Atlanta will be able to finish this quarter, barring disaster.
That's good footwork. That's nice.
Looks like Doran asking for a new disc.
I think they're asking for a new disc right now.
Oh, we need a new disc, I believe.
Yeah.
That disc is tacoed. Maybe. Maybe not. Everyone's staring at you. Is it flat? Maybe. Okay. Pumping up light bead into it. Good physical copy there. And checking it.
Observers coming together here for some sort of decision.
Yeah, we got 15 seconds on the clock.
I learned something about observers recently. Is that they have this thing with ducks, like rubber ducks, where they prank each other with rubber ducks. We can talk more about that later.
I wouldn't put anything past Terrence.
Well, I don't know if Terrence is involved in that one.
Tonight, shout out to her, all the work she does here for our program.
All right.
Professionally.
I'm going to go as far as to say if Atlanta wants to win this game, they've got to punch this in. Or at the very least, hold possession for 8 seconds. McKenna comes through, almost gets the block. It's Mosquera collecting. A bit of help downfield from Philly. Pass into space, and it's Linda Morse coming through with their head up.
Morse really helped on that. Like, Morse was the reason why that deep look wasn't able to be thrown, and then the ability to reel in and get that block is very impressive.
Yeah, Linda's a seasoned veteran, one of the most veteran players in this league, and she is steady as you go. Great player for this Philly team to build around. That will do it for the first half. Exciting stuff so far, Mary. 10-6 Philly, and we will be back after a break here in the second half. You stay tuned at home.
We'll get started with some fun games here in just about 2 minutes. 15-minute halftime.
Welcome back to the first semifinal of this PUL championship weekend. For those of you joining us this second half, I am Saul Yannick here with Mary Rippey on the commentary. Philly Surge jumped out to a 7-1 lead early on, and Atlanta battled back in the second quarter for this 4-point margin. Quick give and go between Griner and Doran up to Tori Taylor. Taylor over to Carver. Carver on the sideline. A couple of cutters going in the same space. Carver reaches around for Chloe Green with a big bid and just can't bring it in. Philly Surge first break chance out of the half break. Epstein. Big bid on defense there from Gustafson. Going deep is Alfano looking for... Oh, what a grab on the sideline, but it looks like it's going to be just out of bounds from Zoe Costanza. Clinical work from the Philly Surge D-line offense, but just turned over back the other way. Now we got Griner walking to the line with no mark. Carver across the middle. Back to Doran, covered by Lindsay McKenna. Lefty up to Chloe Green. Through the middle, Jerial. Griner has an option going deep in Gustafson. Spreads it around Chloe Green here. Back to Carver in the middle. This is a very traditional Atlanta Soul O-line here. A lot of veteran presences out here. Tori Taylor just off her fingertips with Moeller lurking in the inside lane right behind her. And here Moeller will pick up for the second break chance at the point. Another vert orientation for the Surge D-line offense with McKenna offering deep. Griner peels off the front to kill the under. Moeller over to Costanza. High to McKenna, just off her fingertips. Fastball on that under. Just did not connect. Here's Griner for the Atlanta offense again. Some tired legs here on both sides. Paige Carver. Pumps Taylor. Timeout from Atlanta here early in this point.
I think you gotta.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It's a crucial point for Atlanta to get their half started on the right track, but if you're Philly, you're very happy to have squeezed one of their timeouts away from them early in this half on an O point.
Yeah.
We do remind you our next game is at 3 o'clock.
This is a remarkable effort from Zoe Costanza there. Feet just came up at the end and couldn't quite maintain possession through ground contact.
And gates open up again at 2:30, so that's over 2 hours of a chance to go out and enjoy some local cuisine.
As the game wears on here, we're at about 11:30 local time. That turf can get very, very warm. So as the heat of the day arrives, I'm curious to see which team can handle that better. In general, I would expect the Soul to have, the slightly better heat adaptation based on their geography, but certainly Philly running through all of their depth in this game so far. A lot of firepower out here for the Atlanta offense. Griner, Wilbur. Montagna opens up. Has Griner offering deep. Pumps it. Here's Quincy Booth offering up line. Wilbur with a great left-handed snag under pressure from Alfano. And then there's a foul downfield between Alvey and Mosquera. Looks like maybe an offensive foul. Defender in good position. Contested. A little bit neither here nor there. Here's Martha Wilbur. Good defense from Semper on Charlotte Doran. Wilbur leads the flick all the way up into the deep space. And McKenna comes through after Alvey with the initial intervention. Call in the field. Was not my first instinct when I saw that play first. A lot of people involved, and yeah, I think Lindsay's just taking position there. Probably not a foul.
But what argument is through the shoulder?
Not
Reasonably
sure. We
conservative?
don't have anybody mic'd up today. First involvement from the observers so far.
I do think, to your point, that we're getting towards the hottest point of the day. Atlanta's kind of a grinding team overall. I think they find a lot of success after their second or their third cut in a row. And if they can figure out a way to maybe conserve that energy, I think that would do them some justice here.
So you're looking for them to be more active or less active?
I'm looking for them to be less active. I'm looking for them to create a bigger stage space overall, attack aggressively when it's their turn, haircut as well. I think the longer this game goes on, the hotter it gets, the more overall grinding is just going to wear you down without actually opening up anything and get to these situations.
Observer overrules that foul, and immediate timeout from Bobby Roos on the sideline, Philly coach, with that first cut to McKenna shut down. So second timeout on this first point out of half, with Surge looking to break.
I think the other piece there too is that there are Atlanta players open downfield, but I think because of the timing and the continuous movement, they tend to get open in a very shallow space and perhaps right when the cut is ending. And to someone with the disc, that can maybe look like not a great situation to throw someone into. So I think holding a little bit would probably benefit them because they are getting open in certain ways.
Yeah, maybe it'll disconnect between when the folks in the backfield are looking to throw it downfield and when the cutters are actually becoming available potentially. And I think one thing we should call out is the surge marks have been really strong in keeping Atlanta on that sideline there. Atlanta, as we've talked about, is really strong when they are flowing through the middle of the field, and when they're stuck on that sideline, their big host stack spacing really breaks down. Here we see out of the timeout, Liang over to Morse. Looks like more junk from Atlanta with Booth on the mark. More of a trapping variant. Swing low to Dang, digs it out. Atlanta's got a pretty clear opinion about that, but we play on. I believe up-down is an active observer call in the PUL. I could be wrong. Oh, and Quincy Booth with a nice hand block on Morse on the pop-out. Booth looking at Taylor. Has Dorn at the reset. Over the top, Martha Wilbur for the score. An opening hold for Atlanta after a long and winding road involving multiple timeouts. Quincy Booth puts her stamp on that point. She's obviously a special player. She's a bit of a unicorn. She's so tall, left-handed, such an incredible throwing bag. But you don't see him. You don't see him that tall, that lefty, and that redheaded. That's what everybody says. So she's just got so many interesting use cases in the way that they play. Obviously, playing that front of the zone, she can be really disruptive with her size. Mary, you've been aware of Quincy for a long time. What have you seen? Like, what has changed about her game, and what has stayed the same over the last few years as she's, arrived on the scene?
Honestly, I hope this isn't totally inaccurate, but one thing that I remember when we were first playing Ozone years ago was Quincy always had a deep backhand throwing bag, but I think over the past few years she's really developed her forehand overall, which helps her open up the field in so many different ways. For breaks, throwing, stretching the field, all that. Defensively, she's not always asked to be the defensive person overall, so I don't have much of a comment on that, but certainly her poise as well has developed over the past few years, and that's just what's going to happen when you continuously have the disc in your hands in important moments across different types of teams.
Here's Atlanta back in the zone.
Number 46, Graham Cunningham.
Got about 4 players down near the line of scrimmage here, with Mosquera creeping in. There's Graham Cunningham on the sideline. Serves a forehand to Wagner. Maroon. Cunningham and Liang. Breaks around. K-Spa. Has Hiranet in the end zone. Tries to high point it and disc floats above her head. Here's Charlotte Doran to tap it in for another break chance for the Soul. Atlanta creeping their way back into this game. Upline to Doran. Pumps the big shot. Had an available receiver, but swings to Mosquera. Brivier trying to come get a touch on this near side. Here's Paige Carver. Great work downfield from Allison Murphy. Here's Privier. Has Taylor in the deep space. Upline to Wilbur, covered by Liang. Atlanta out and running here. Tori Taylor. Taylor stuck on the sideline. Cunningham with the strong mark. Taylor not trying to mess with it, and here's Wilbur at a very high stall, bails her out. Privier finally gets connected. 10 yards to go for another break for the Soul. Carver covered by Maroon, goes around. Wilbur from Privier. Privier available on the inside lane. Wilbur back to Marie. One more pass for Atlanta. High floating flick, and Wilbur brings it in. Atlanta breaks, and after 2 points, we are 7 minutes into the quarter, and Atlanta has brought the deficit from 7-1 to 10-8. Unbelievable.
Let's go. That is so fun.
Philly looking like it was business as usual, and Sarah Hiranet. Maybe the wind pops it up over her head. I mean, she's a very capable high pointer of the disc, but Atlanta decisive down the other way. A little bit of a miscommunication, but Martha Wilbur collects that goal. Maybe some nerves starting to trickle in for the Surge here. It has been a while since they were really in control of this game.
You know, I was getting a little nervous that this game was going to be a blowout. I'll be totally honest here, and I'm so happy that this is not the case and the Soul are showing up and playing the game that I think could get them far, could get them a championship game.
Surge back out here with a bit of a mixed line. Milligan center to Lindsay McKenna. Lisa Dang off the front of the vert. Morse downfield. Bit of a switch. Griner poaches off McKenna into power position. Has Crescenzo working. Back around to Lisa Dang. Epstein covered by Montagna downfield. McKenna. Here's Steinberg back to McKenna. Linda Morse. Steinberg running free. Pick downfield.
I also want to call out cutter defense. I also want to cut out cutter defense on this point right now. This is a notable, remarkable step up from just the first couple of points that the Soul played. Whether that's just getting your legs under you or having just a different game plan overall of how you play. They're touch tight overall and really pressuring those cutters, and I think that's working out quite well.
Linda Morse just overthrows Crescenzo, or Costanza, excuse me. I don't know if there's anybody named Crescenzo on either of these teams. I think I've just been confabulating that. All right. Zoe Costanza. Apologies if that's been big bid from Faye Epstein. Montagna, another bid. Costanza. Back to Montagna, has Taylor covered by Lisa Dang. High stall goes around Chloe Green. Serves that backhand back to the middle. Anna Gustafson. Outside. Jerial. Pressure from Dang on Tori Taylor. Montagna blocked by Faye Epstein, and a call on the play. Foul or perhaps a strip. Man, Faye Epstein has been explosive this whole game.
They'll have a quick chance to talk it out. I'm not allowed to say what my opinion was, but I have a strong opinion I'm going to do. All right, looks like they're going to go to the observer. Probably. It's normally what pointing at the observer means.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Faye
they
Epstein
have
went to
10
Brown.
seconds to
I didn't
discuss
realize
as
that.
players, and then it goes to the
No fun
observer,
fact
so
listed
I
though, so
Mm.
Faye Epstein.
She did go to
next
Brown.
Really fast.
Next year, I would really appreciate a fun fact to be
Oh,
listed.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Contested foul here.
Oh.
Server doesn't have the look that they, that 95% confident look that they need to make a ruling. So back to Tori Taylor and on a high stall count.
All right, well, this is getting in the hands of the soul either
Oh,
way.
nope. And on 2. That's the hand signal. So, I mean, another really, really big possession here for the Soul. This is an opportunity to bring it within 1
All right, waiting for
with
the
3
tap.
minutes left in the quarter. It's huge.
And we're in.
Montagna and Epstein downfield.
Tori Taylor with this for Soul.
Taylor around, Liv Ford. Back to Green. Reaches with her forehand. And just out of the reach of Tori Taylor. Epstein, Milligan.
So Serge looking back to get
Back
the
to
hold
Epstein. Lisa Dang. Atlanta falling into matchups here. High release.
again in the quarter.
Steinberg. Swings to Dang. Philly trying to stabilize. Good pressure underneath from Gustafson on McKenna. Inside break, Linda Morse.
Crappy throw by Dang.
Ribs a forehand deep. There's McKenna covered by Gustafson. It's a perfect shot from Linda Morse.
On the doorstep, couldn't quite put it in.
McKenna looking for an option in transition. High release around, and it's Faye Epstein intercepting it from Zoe Costanza. Philly survives a big scare from the Atlanta D-line on
2:10 remaining in the
a connection that you would not expect to see maybe 5 years ago, but it's Linda Morse uncorking a fantastic forehand huck deep to Lindsay McKenna right on the money.
Hear me out. I think Linda Morse has been doing that for a long time, but we just haven't seen it. That's just my hot take. Maybe not even a hot take. That's just my insider take. It's great to see it on camera.
And I mean, this is a really, really impressive throw. You know, it turns over just a little bit, but I think it's just the throwing into the correct space with a lot of spin, and whatever the final edge is a little bit neither here nor there if you throw it into the space that your receiver wants it. And if you want to handpick a receiver on this team to throw it to, Lindsay McKenna's not a bad option.
Yeah, story time. When Lindsay and I were teammates at one point, and we would warm up with threes with Minnie, and I had to guard her. That's just the worst. Like, I'm 5'4", 5'5", short arms. That's the worst situation you could ever be in. So I can only imagine what it feels like on a bigger field.
Pull lands inbounds. Green calls it in. Here's Quincy Booth.
I think
Has an
it's
open receiver on the far
a
side.
lot to stay for, like, the VIP seating.
Griner. Here's Doran.
Great presser by the Surge.
Booth back to Doran. Has Privier.
Quick movement.
Overthrows it, and here is Conroy coming through for the block. Semper pumps the big huck. Thompson. Harnage. Conroy. Philly out and moving. Chelsea Semper, timeout from the sideline. So Philly coaching staff getting aggressive, burning their second timeout of the half. No timeouts remaining, but they've identified this point as the most important in the game so far.
What do you think about that? Or at least, what do you think that says about the coaching mindset right now?
Yeah, it's a really interesting decision. I thought that possession was looking pretty comfortable so far, and this personnel group overall has been efficient, with Semper being very steady, getting a lot of touches, but I don't know, the lazy version is they're missing some of their higher octane players, whether it's Epstein or McKenna, folks who have been involved in a lot of the goal scoring plays so far. But I mean, I think Coach Roos knows his team best, and at the end of the day, when you got your O-line out there with 20 yards to go, the disc not quite on the sideline, I think you're confident they're going to punch it in every time, and if you know they're going to punch it in every time, you might as well go up 12-8. See a bit of a spaced out formation with McKenna and Maroon featured in front of Sarah Liang. See if Atlanta goes tight matchup here or if they bring a couple extra bodies down low.
So go get yourself some brunch. Get over here for extra. And we're
Liang,
back.
Maroon.
Sergio, looking for a break.
Maroon inside flick to McKenna past the pressure of Mosquera. Cunningham, multiple options at the cone, and it's Lisa Dang through the contact from Montagna, and Philly takes the lead 12-8.
Oh, got my heart rate up. I'm not cool. I'm not quite sure how that felt on the field, but definitely the energy of the past few points needing to maintain the lead, I think. To me, that felt infused into this possession.
Yeah, Maroon executing that crucial inside flick past the recovering Mosquera there to McKenna, I think really clinched that point for them, and then it was a whole bunch of people trying to score at that same cone, and they figured out a way to find an option through the clutter.
It's excellent real estate, that cone.
Everybody putting down offers.
Got a fun fact here about Poppy Wagner. Do I have a fun fact? I do have a fun fact. And that is that she really loves fake bacon. Really excellent.
Is she a vegetarian?
I don't know. It's
Not specified?
No, unspecified. I wish the brand was listed. Then viewers at home could check that out.
This
we can get
PUL
her a
Championship
brand deal.
weekend brought to you by Morningstar.
That's terrible.
Let's be clear, that is it's not true.
We don't support Morningstar. Anyway.
All right, back to business.
Oh,
1 minute left in the third quarter, 12-8 Philly. And Moeller on the pole.
It's a good one. That'll be a roll.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Katie.
Green initiates to Booth. Looking at a transitional defense from Philly.
Works it through to Montagna.
Semper bailing out of the mark there. Picks up Booth. It's Montagna back to Quincy Booth. Out to space, nice grab. Ellie Thompson to Booth. Montagna
To Montagna.
pumps the away to Thompson. High release around. Good defensive pressure there from Philly. It's Gwen Rao coming off of her assignment and gets the block on the break side. Now Semper to Rao.
with the rejection there. Rao with the disc now. Takes the shot.
Spaces out a forehand. Booth on the help. And Quincy gets the block coming over the top. Good positioning play there from Abby Thompson, but Quincy Booth towering over there and comes through with the block. Montagna, Booth dribbling.
Once again, I love the dribbling. I would love if there could be more space kept open downfield until maybe a mark is too late to set, and then we can start throwing and going and activating the cutters.
Here's Mia Griner, pumps an open Morgan Lally. Booth powering into the upfield space, pumps the deep look. Montagna. Booth picked up by Moeller. Quincy clearly looking to keep moving forward there in that situation. Moeller gets a paw in there and a great block. Some sort of call.
Moeller looked like she got the rejection there.
I saw a foul down the field.
So got some extracurriculars downfield.
Not sure.
Totally missed that while I was watching.
Just going to let the observer resolve this one, but it does look like the quarter has come to an end.
See what the observers sort out here.
Looks like a defensive foul.
No, they're calling an offensive foul.
Yeah, it looks like the quarter's over. All right, so after, I believe it was 10-6 at halftime, we had an even quarter, even third quarter. We will move to our final break of the game, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter.
And we'll be back at it for some fourth quarter action.
The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today or use the QR code on the screen.
Okay, great. I have a story about observers. One thing I learned, this is bringing back from maybe the first quarter or something. One thing that I learned in observer culture is that they do something called ducking, D-U-C-K-I-N-G, ducking. And that's where they prank each other by plastering rubber ducks on each other's cars. I really hope I wasn't pranked myself by being told this, but I just feel like if you're ever trying to get on an observer's good side,
All right.
Oh,
Dan Wong, you have been warned.
Atlanta needing to do the work, get back in. Well, the Surge looking to hold this deficit.
All right, Mary, it's getting late here. First pull of the fourth quarter is only moments away, with Surge leading by 4. The game has certainly stabilized since the 7-1 explosion that Philly started out with. What do you view as Atlanta's best chance to get back in this game in this fourth quarter?
I think if they continue playing with that defense, I don't have anything that's actually really excellent to say, I won't lie, but I think if they continue playing with that defensive intensity, I like their junk looks overall. And I think offensively, continuing to work with that dominator set, especially with Montagna in it, I think that works out quite well for them. They're able to get a lot of momentum that once they're able to switch the field, no mark on, they can then connect with their cutters, and I think they feel much more comfortable playing a very intuitive game, whereas Philadelphia certainly has more structure overall. So I like the way that they bounced back, obviously, in the past quarter or so, and continue to keep that intensity up overall. I think they are a team that thrives on energy and belief. Some teams don't necessarily need that as much per se because of the preparation that they put in, but I think leaning into that belief will go far with Seoul.
Here's Liang looking at the end zone for Poppy Wagner for the score, just ahead of a lunging Elizabeth Mosquera. Philly goes up 13-8 after some close calls in the zone there with Tori Taylor just centimeters away from a couple of dish passes. Strong start and 1 full minute off the clock here with Philly leading by 5. I think one underrated thing about the timed game is how important these defensive points are for the leading team. You obviously spend a lot of time and energy thinking about how you're going to dispossess the opposing team's O-line when you're trailing, but not as much as is discussed in terms of the best way to ensure efficient holds as the O-line when you're trailing, because the instinct is to throw deep and to go fast, but every turnover that you throw as an O-line is an opportunity for, in this case, the Surge to, you can't really afford any breaks as an O-line in this quarter, and so you have to strike that balance of making sure that you score while also trying to score efficiently. Muller on the pull. Here's Griner up to Booth. Out wide, Chloe Green. Booth operating in this transitional defense from Philly. Looks like they're into matchup backhand here. Jerial.
Nice. This is what I was hoping to see.
Martha Wilbur up to Privier. Has a round look to Tori Taylor, and that's perfect offense from the Atlanta Soul, working through that front layer of the help defense, and then when they get that break side look, they just keep it flowing down that weak side of the field. very efficient 30-second score.
Yeah, I think, to me, it's been impressive from the start of the game to now to see that improvement in the offensive connectivity. Again, getting those few passes, especially some upline pop-outs, getting forward momentum within that line of scrimmage area. And then there we saw that there was a wide stage that was actually open because cutters either held or were able to clear effectively. That then let Seoul get into a larger space offense, switch the field, and score very quickly. I love that. I think they could win the whole thing continuing to play exactly that way.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if Atlanta keeps breaking out this zone. It's certainly their comfort zone as a group based on sort of their trends from the season, but at the end of the day, you're going to need to speed up this Philly O-line, and Liang and company have been very comfortable operating around the backfield against the zone defense. Cunningham up to Liang, looking at a Hostak here. Clearing play for Maroon to catch on the far sideline. Morse available in the middle, pops it out to Liang, pumps it. Morse to Lisa Dang, has Hiranet. Philly efficiently into the red zone. Hiranet swings for Lisa Dang.
Back over to Dang.
There's Grace Maroon. Taylor on the mark. Dang, upline to Maroon. Philly offense looking very comfortable at that point against the matchup defense, with Dang, Liang, and Maroon all involved. Pretty much, I mean, that's just bullet, or that's film room material for the Philadelphia offense. That's everything going exactly as they like to see it.
Yeah, Seoul's going to need to apply a little bit more defensive pressure across the board. I like that they did not stay in their zone the full time. To your point, the clock is winding down. I like the concept of the pull play stopper, but once that happens, I think tightening up overall. I was also thinking, what's your perspective on kind of asking Philly to take shots?
Yeah, certainly. I think when you're matching up in these situations, you got to be fronting downfield. Like, there are incredibly effective receivers on the surge side, but when you find yourself down 4 in the fourth quarter, there's, this is a losing battle, and the surge D-line is gonna get their fair share of chances if you keep asking the O-line to go out there every other point. It's just a percentages game at this point, and this would, like, to be perfectly clear, this would be one of the best upset or the best comebacks we've ever seen situationally in this league. And so, with that being the context, you've got to shift the paradigm of how you're approaching defending against that surge O-line. Wilbur. Mosquera has Privier going deep. Low laser. She lays out. What a grab. Marie Privier with the left hand. Pops it out to Griner. Semper covering Privier up the line. And Mosquera covered by McKenna. Here's Quincy Booth. Has Wilbur cutting behind the mark. Booth around to Privier. 2 options at the front cone. And it's Mosquera ahead of McKenna. Incredible action that point.
Great point.
Marie Privier putting her stamp on that one. And Mosquera getting more and more involved here late in this game. My goodness, what a grab.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a point like that just shows you that the ceiling on this player. Like, Marie is such a threat all over the field.
Glaze.
I mean, this is a low laser, and she brings it in, secures it through the ground contact, and then collects a swing and delivers a really nice around backhand to the correct location. If that throw is at Mosquera's knees, that's an easy Lindsay McKenna layout block because her receiver's slowing down, can't attack it at head height. But it's those small details on top of just the raw explosiveness and playmaking that makes Privier such a special player. She's out here again. Big line for the Seoul here.
Number 15 Mosquera with the ball. Holy cow, it's a good one.
Standard O personnel for the Seoul, or for the Surge. Mosquera bombs a pull into the middle, into the corner of the end zone. Coffin corner to go for the Surge. More zone here. They swing back to Cunningham in her own end zone. Back to Milligan. Through the middle into Morse. Morse looks to pop it out to Wagner. Taylor forces it back into the end zone. Milligan over the top, all the way around to Lisa Dang. Nice throw there. Here's Morse. Has Dang in a pocket there, but couldn't find her. There is Lisa Dang. Call in the field, maybe an injury. We'll have Griner subbing in for Doran. So Surge has navigated out of Coffin Corner. 8 minutes, 19 seconds on the clock.
See what the first stoppage that helps the offense and defense more. 8:19 remaining in the game.
Here's Lisa Dang. Pumps it to Milligan, moves the defense, and quick give and go with Poppy Wagner. Over the top, finds Maroon on the sideline. She high points it. Atlanta getting aggressive here. Taylor descends to Mark. No immediate reset option. Back to Wagner, who cycles back. Through the middle between the defenders. Dang looking comfortable here. Wagner. Cunningham overthrows Wagner. Atlanta with a break chance here. Mosquera looking to move quickly. Privier. Hawkins pumps Mosquera. Wilbur. Privier covered by Dang. Wilbur marked extremely well by Maroon.
Saw that scuba show.
Mia Griner looking at Taylor. Mosquera available, got pumped here. Privier wriggled free for the front cone for a moment. Here's Martha Wilbur. Atlanta pressing. Wilbur around through the middle. Mia Griner, 14-11 Philly with Atlanta getting the break that they need. 7 minutes to go, still a long way to go.
And that started off with Mosquera getting that pull all the way to
Absolutely.
that corner there. That's really, yeah, strong rep? Strong point.
Certainly.
Everything's a rep out here.
All right, so time to really find out what this Philly Surge team is made of. First real sign of adversity in the second half. And Seoul just starting to slowly find their form in this fourth quarter. Wholesale subs for the Surge, with the exception of Maroon, who stays out there.
Who's out there?
Looks like Alvy and...
I got a fun fact about Alvy.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay, this is not shocking. Alvy has a +5 APE index.
Good for her.
Height is 5'7", wingspan is 6'0".
Oh my goodness.
Truly good for her.
High floating pull just comes up about half field. Chelsea Semper. Alvy with all that length. Back to Semper. Little chip from Liang. More zone from Atlanta. Trapping mark from Taylor. Here's Carver. Semper reaches deep for Lindsay McKenna. Easy as you like. McKenna. Oh, unbelievable layout. And just loses it on ground contact. Atlanta with another break chance. Oh, man. That's a... I think there's a bit of wind pushing in this left to right direction as we saw Mosquera bomb that pull last point. This looked perfect out of the hand from Chelsea Semper to her favorite receiver, and McKenna with a huge clap catch layout, but commonly you see that drop on ground contact when you can't quite snag it with one hand, and Lindsay will step off.
Yeah, that is the downwind.
We got flags here.
We got flags, yeah.
Okay, another opportunity for Atlanta with Martha Wilbur to pick up. Did not clock whether there was an offensive substitute for Atlanta, but we do see Privier, Griner, Mosquera, Tori Taylor. A lot of potency out here for the Atlanta Soul counterattack. Here's Jerial. Mosquera. Tori Taylor open deep. K-Spot picks it up.
Switch, yeah.
Nice inside break to Carver. Martha Wilbur. Far side Jerial. Privier. Paige Carver.
Working over number 33, Paige Carver.
Nice inside shot to Tori Taylor after a help poach from a cutter defender. Almost a hand block there if that throw had gone up. Huge truck stick from Grace Maroon. Probably a pick and a foul on the play if I had to guess.
I mean, yeah, that cut is going to lead to those situations sometimes.
It's a
but
tough situation.
Yeah.
And Paige Carver goes off and she says, "Oh, guys, I'm out. We got to put Quincy on the field here." So 14-11, 5:37 to go with Privier 15 out. All the main movers for Atlanta here. Booth squares up. Wilbur can't bring it in. Under pressure from Costanza. Crucial defensive possession for the Soul here. Linda Morse without a mark. She is under no rush, and instead she launches it deep to K-Spa. Taylor and Privier in the area. It's Privier coming through. Can't quite make the play. K-Spa brings it in. Looks like we got an offensive foul call from Taylor. Not sure we can get a replay here.
Yeah, it was teammate on teammate.
It's a huge throw from Morse. Nerves of steel in this setting to let that go.
As a viewer, I do love replays so that I can judge whatever.
That is not a foul.
Yeah, it's just two teammates.
Yeah, I don't know if Marie was the one who bumped her in the back or if it's just K-Spa holding her position. Veronica Colagius-Balearis.
A little bit of everything, a little bit of both.
Contested foul. So this is actually going to go all the way back to Linda Morse, I believe.
Wait, I didn't see the hand signals.
I mean, if you're the Surge, you don't really care about where the disc is. You just want possession. But that is not the correct ruling, in my opinion.
Yeah, if observers have differing opinions, then it stands as contested.
So this goes back to Morris.
Soul have one timeout remaining.
Check to see if that's the clock that the observers want. Looks like it. So Morris to tap in. Here we go.
Morse to tap it in. First sack from the Philly. I believe this is a D-line. Or O-line, I think. Yeah, this is a receiving point with D-line personnel. Chelsea Semper has been excellent today. I think only one turnover, and it was on that incredible layout from McKenna looking into that end zone this point. Inside break to Grace Maroon under heavy pressure from Wilbur. Here's Linda Morse. Philly in no rush. Foul on the mark from Mosquera.
Foul called.
Yeah.
No contest there. And we're back in.
Alvey back to Morse. Has Semper wide open underneath. Big gainer. Has Costanza offering deep. K-Spa underneath. Morse is free up line. K-Spa threads a forehand just in front of Costanza. That same part of the end zone. Looks like the wind is just pushing those too far. 3.5 minutes to go. Big mountain to climb for the Soul.
And timeout call by the Atlanta Soul.
And here is the final timeout of the game for the Atlanta Soul. Very, very reasonable time to call that one. Everybody out of gas on the field. And we will see who trots out here for this do or die possession for the Soul.
All right, what's your prediction here, Saul? What do you think they're coming out in defensively?
I mean, just from all of our communication with the Soul coaching staff this season, I think that they're going to run almost a completely new line. They're going to trust their depth. They're going to run their host stack, and they're going to try to get multiple passes up the middle of the field. And
Same old.
If Quincy Booth gets a chance to huck a backhand, I bet she'll let it go. But yeah, we see no Perivier, no Martha Wilbur. They are sucking wind on the sideline after an incredibly long point.
3-point difference in the game. Surge 14, Soul 11. Offense come alive in the second half after
Wholesale on both sides. You see McKenna and Epstein out here, along with Hironet, Moeller, Kashyap,
All right, here we go.
Gwen Rao off in the lane.
We need a quick one. And we're back in with the solo.
Swings it over the weak side handler, Chloe Green. Back to Doran, back on the field after the previous injury. Pumps Bedeau, and now she collects it over on the near side. Not much progress so far for Atlanta. Booth has pushed into the downfield position. Gustafson available, marked by McKenna. Ooh, quick thrower initiated reset. Doran, Jeriel. Here's Lally. Now Atlanta connecting. Booth hanging out on the weak side. And a block on an underthrown up line. That is Gwen Rao again. She has had a big second half for Philly. And now the Surge are going to milk this clock for all it's worth. 2:50 to go in this game, and Atlanta seeing those seconds drain from the clock faster than they'd like to. Gustafson, close on the inside line. McKenna collects it. Vert stack for Philly here. Pick in the stack. Believe clock should stop in this situation. Maybe that's only under 2 minutes. McKenna, open side. Here's Anna Harnage. Misses an open upline look. Moeller works the position free. Pumps the hammer. A lot of length in this matchup. Inside break and another pick away from the disc.
No, pick.
Got to be the most height we've ever seen in a thrower and mark matchup. These are two absolutely enormous players. Harnage. Switch in the backfield. Atlanta's got to speed up defensively here. Moeller looks at McKenna, breaks high around. 1:45 to go. McKenna asking for a break side cut, but just goes back to Moeller. Too passive defensively from the Soul. They gotta force the issue. Moeller gives and goes. Lindsay McKenna again has Hironet available. Good defense from Bedeau, and the disc goes back to Atlanta. Gotta move. Green, tight window to Booth. She knows the assignment. She launches it to Morgan Lally. But it's Sarah Hironet who comes through, and that will just about do it. 1 minute to go. Far side pass to Lindsay McKenna. Moeller has a negative option, shoots it deep. Anna Harnage on the far side. She brings it in. 15-11, Philly Surge. Smelling Sunday.
One thing I appreciate, we talked a little bit about this in the first quarter, I believe, but you know, when folks talk about a team is patient or a team is chilly, and sometimes that just might mean stagnation overall. I think when I watch Lindsay McKenna play, one thing that I do genuinely see is patience. You know, to your point, like she's asking for those break side looks, but she also is aware that if that's not, like she has something going on in her head, right? Like if that's not available, she knows her next progression and she understands the consequences of pointing, of doing so. And I really appreciate seeing that in a player and calling that out, because to me that is not stagnation. That is working with a team and trying to get them to a certain place, and then being willing to go through your progressions to continue to get to a better spot as well.
Yeah, and I mean especially in a pro format with a clock, game management is key. You know, the clock is your friend in this case when you're leading, and we saw both Moeller and McKenna gesturing for certain looks, but they knew in the back of their head there is no need to take any kind of risk whatsoever, and they can always just throw it back to a negative reset. And at the end of the day, I think for Atlanta defensively, there was a little bit of a lack of shift in approach late in this game to guarding the handlers and forcing the issue towards the end zone, and I think that was one thing that just sort of sunk them. Outside of that, obviously the huge start from Philly. Here's Griner. Bobble in the middle. Here's Liv Ford powering up into power position, has Tori Taylor in the end zone. Classic Liv Ford forehand huck, and Taylor just sandwiched by those two defenders. Nice block. I believe that is Alvey coming over the top. Philly's just going to walk this one out here, take as much time as they'd like, and start thinking about their ice baths and their post-game meal. It's been a really impressive win from the Surge. Conroy. Low pass dug up by Thompson. Gonna go back to Semper again. She's been fantastic today. Breaks around Steinberg. And back to Semper again. 15 to go. A couple more completions. Here's Alvey. Free pass back to Semper, and she can just hold this one out. Goes up to Thompson. Good D from Atlanta. Big bids coming through, and that will be the game after that block from Tori Taylor, but final possession to the Atlanta Soul. They will play it out. Griner at a high count. Goes back to Sanders. Near side, Thompson. Back to Katie Sanders. Griner fights for upline space. Good D from Steinberg. Crossfield, hammer. Griner finds Tori Taylor for the feel-good score. 15-12 victory for the Philly Surge as they advance to their first ever PUL championship game with the win over the Atlanta Soul. Really interesting game. This game has lived a lot of different lives, Mary. What were some of the things that stood out to you from what we saw here today with these two teams?
Well, I always appreciate a comeback, or reduction of the margin. Yeah, same old. Like, this is kind of what we expected. They both play similar-ish games. I will say, by the end of the game, I thought Atlanta diversified their approach to offense overall with some of those slower give-and-go motions, connecting downfield to some open spaces as well. Yeah, I thought this was a great game. I thought the energy really picked up towards the end, and this is exactly what I expected from Surge.
Philly Surge told us coming into the weekend that they would win with their depth, and they have a lot of contributors who will help get them over the line. I think it was just a really remarkable performance in terms of their overall disc skill and ability to play within their system, and whoever they see tomorrow is going to be in for a tough test. That will be the end of this game. That concludes the first semifinal between Philly and Atlanta, with a Philly Surge win 15-12. We will see you for the second semifinal at 3 p.m. Eastern between DC Shadow and Indy Red. We'll see you there.
Lots more PUL action coming up at 3 o'clock here today. Got more halftime entertainment, more food. Make sure you go by the group set, grab yourself some discs, some other cool stuff. There's some custom things I believe for this weekend. You won't want to miss out on that.